What's up, heathens? How ya doing? I'm the Godless Engineer, and I critically analyze apologists' claims to give you the best arguments and information so that you can stand up and use your voice. Today, though, we're going to be going over some comments, and I hadn't done comments in a while. The reason why I haven't done comments in a while is because I really didn't get any good comments, and I was having to pull from other sources, and it just didn't have the same feeling, and so I had to wait until I built up a certain library of stupid. But I fortunately found a huge treasure trove of idiocy, and that's called Tik Tok. The Tik Tok Christians are out of their frickin' minds. Let's see what they got from Tik Tok. Prove it's not true. I don't need proof. Oh, this is gonna hurt, isn't it? Yeah, this is gonna hurt. If you want to see how bad it gets, then please stay tuned. So heathens, you may notice a little bit different of a format for the comments videos. We're not going to be doing the Today I Learned and Shitty Ass Science sections. If you want those sections, they will still be here on the channel. They're just on the Friday night streams. So tune in Fridays at 8:30 p.m. Central if you want to get your fix for Today I Learned and Shitty Ass Science. But for today, we do have sort of a news segment that also includes Bro Cephas. It's called Ask Bro Cephas. What's up there, fellow Christians? How y'all doing? Today, we got a new segment going on, and that's called Ask Bro Cephas. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take your questions, and I'm going to answer them. Not all of them are from you heathens out there, you fucking going to hell sons of bitches. Well, I'm going to be answering some people from across the internet. And so today, our first question is, what if the moon was smarter than a cement truck? I don't know what kind of fucking trollish attempt this is, but I've got your back. So, is the moon dumber than a cement truck? I don't know. If you ask some conspiracy-minded fucks out there, they would say that the moon is actually a space station for aliens. So, you know what? Maybe the moon is smarter than a cement truck. If you think about it, a cement truck's pretty dumb as fuck, right? If the moon is inhabited with aliens inside of its crust, then it is definitely smarter than a fucking cement truck. Or you could go the Mormon route, because apparently the Mormons used to teach that there are aliens dressed like pilgrims living on the surface of the moon. You heard that right. Mormons once taught that. Of course, they won't admit that they believed that at one time, but yes, at one point in time, the Mormons were teaching that there were pilgrims on the moon and they looked just like aliens. And obviously, if there are aliens on the moon is going to be smarter than a fucking cement truck. So, one of the two things that you want to go about it, the moon is definitely already smarter than a cement truck. And if you ask the conspiracy fucks out there, they're the ones stealing all of our kids. There have been so many thousands of kids that go missing, and obviously it's the moon alien people that are coming down and stealing our children. So, there's your scientific information on why the moon is definitely smarter than cement trucks, as well as everybody else on this fucking planet, because we're not exactly all that concerned about it. Obviously, we're too dumb as fuck to realize they're up there, except for those conspiracy-laden fucks. Well, that's all I got today for this shit, so if you will, go down there, do whatever the fuck, I don't know, listen to what this jackass has to say. I'll talk to y'all heathens later. Bye. Whew. Okay. Let's get into these Tik Tok comments. Let's start with that one from the intro, though. Prove it's not true. I don't need proof. So the thing is that this is a shifting of the burden of proof. I don't have to prove that your beliefs aren't true, although I can prove that they don't comport with reality, but it's ultimately up to you to prove your claims to be true. But then you follow it up with, I don't need proof. Then why are you asking me to prove it wrong? If you're not even going to do a little bit of the legwork behind your own beliefs, why should I even care to prove you wrong?
What is the bestseller in human history, Gomer?
Well, okay, that would be the Bible, but that's just because it's been a major religion for a really long time, and since the printing press was invented, a lot of Bibles have been printed. And since the literacy rate has only increased since the printing press was invented, it seems logical that the Bible would have been the best-selling or most dispersed book in history. But also, that particular argument doesn't prove that anything in the Bible is true. Just because something's popular or has been copied a lot of times or anything of that nature doesn't mean that it's actually true.
Praying that you eventually realize the truth.
Woo! And here I thought you were going to do something to actively try to make me become Christian. I'm so glad you're just getting on your knees and sucking that Jesus dick for me.
Children and animals realize the objective morality from birth. Look it up. Experiments have been done.
Experiments? What experiments? Please cite your sources. This is the kind of thing where you really only have to respond with citation needed, because I don't know of any scientific experiments that prove that morality is objective. Now, you could prove some shared set of moral values, but I don't think that you can prove objective or absolute morality. Which is what these people are really talking about, is absolute morality. Absolute morality doesn't exist, and you can only be objective about your own moral foundation.
My Bible is the best seller in human history for a reason. Our faith over 2,000 years old. Militant atheists go crazy over these simple truths.
I don't go crazy over these simple truths. Again, I don't care that it's the best seller in human history. That literally means nothing as far as the truth of the Bible goes. And honestly, it's a shitty story, so, I mean, it really shouldn't have sold as much, but people just listen and believe, so they believe it. It also doesn't matter how old your faith is. I don't care if it's 2,000 years old, 4,000 years old, or 6,000 years old. There were plenty of faiths that existed before your particular version of Christianity. So does that mean that those particular faiths are more accurate than yours is just because they're old? Maybe you should take some time and think out your arguments before you type them into Tik Tok.
Subjective morality is not sufficient. Subjective morality does not explain guilt.
First thing, try using a period there, bud. Subjective morality is sufficient, and in fact, it better explains what we see in reality than your absolute morality would. And yeah, subjective morality would explain guilt. Guilt is an emotion. Guilt is irrespective of any single moral foundation. So I don't know why you think subjective morality can't explain an emotional reaction to something.
Morality is objective, and it's pretty simple to understand that.
I mean, I would have to ask you for your proof that morality is objective or absolute, which is what I think these people really mean, is that it's absolute. They just get confused with the objective part. And yeah, it's pretty easy to recognize that everybody shares some kind of common moral foundation or moral set of moral values. But that doesn't make it objective or absolute just because we share these moral values.
Good job at spreading the word of atheism to your 41 followers.
It doesn't really matter how many followers I have as far as like a gauge on how truthful whatever statement I made was. Yay for me. Great. I'm not spreading the word of atheism. I don't know what you mean by that, other than you can only view this particular conversation in religious terms, which is kind of what it seems like.
You're very sad. Aren't good enough for who? God still loves you. I'll just pray for you.
Okay, that's fine. You can pray for me all you want to. I mean, it's not really going to affect me at all. It's definitely not going to affect what I believe if you pray for me. Also, your YOU''RE, that's the correct one that you're looking for. And I'm not very sad. I'm actually pretty happy. I'm very happy at home with my wife, KC, my son, my job, my side gig is, producing content for you heathens out there. So I'm pretty content and happy with my life. Yeah.
Well, there is overwhelming evidence that supports Christianity and the Bible.
oh, what might that evidence be? You could provide something, although TikTok only allows for 150 characters, so I can understand the brevity of your comment here. But I would also love to know what evidence that you have that you think that I haven't already investigated. It seems like these TikTok people think that atheists just became atheists in the last few months. You know, before it's like TikTok came on the scene and then all of a sudden all these atheists were immediately converted to atheism. No, that's not how shit works. I've looked into what I believe and I constantly reevaluate what I believe all the time. So this isn't something new for me. I've seen all of your evidence that you supposedly have, and it's not convincing.
Answer me this there, atheists. If we evolved from other species, then how do they still exist today? There couldn't be just another genetic sequence randomly added to an organism.
You don't understand how mutations work, do you there, bud? Like, that's, I mean, not whole genetic sequences, but mutations include these random genetic changes, right? That occur what seems to be randomly, that allow organisms to change in ways that allow them to survive better. Well, some of the times. Other times they're neutral, and other times they're detrimental. But the detrimental ones, they don't really help the organism survive to procreate, so they don't get passed through the population. They die out pretty quickly. So it's really the good ones that last throughout it, because the good mutations allow the organism to survive in its environment. Also, the whole, if we evolved from monkeys, why are there still monkeys? I can't believe that this is still like being used by Christians, but I mean, it's TikTok. They seem to have the worst arguments for their faith. We evolved from a distant proto-ape that is a common ancestor between us and the other great apes. Our population just evolved differently. The other ones evolved differently than us. That's pretty much it. We didn't evolve from monkeys, because what we know of as monkeys now were not in existence when we diverged from our common ancestor with the other great apes.
So why aren't apes in control, and why do they still exist then?
Okay, so I covered the whole why do they still exist thing. We diverged and everything, so no need to regurgitate what I just said. But the apes aren't in control because they did not mutate and change in a way that would allow them to increase their brain capacity. They haven't been able to manipulate their environment like we have. We just evolved along a different evolutionary path, and that particular evolutionary path allowed us to change our environment, and that in itself is a survival trait that helped us become the apex species on this planet. And finally, we have,
if I'm wrong, I lose nothing, but if you wrong, you lose everything.
Well, this is just Pascal's wager, and this assumes that the only choices are Christianity and atheism, but that is the inherent flaw to Pascal's wager. It's not just Christianity versus atheism, it's all religions versus atheism. It's theism versus atheism. Theism contains a lot of different ideas about what God is like, what his criteria are for getting into heaven, if there even is a heaven. Like, there's so many different things out there. So you assuming that just because you believe in a higher power means that you're closer to getting into heaven is really nonsensical, considering all of the restrictions that each religion places on its adherents. You have to do exactly what that religion tells you to do in order to get into the good place. If I'm wrong, I don't know what would happen if theism were true. Nobody knows what would happen. But on your particular worldview, you would most likely actually be sent to hell, because the chances of you having the correct version of God is so low that you're more likely to be sent to hell. So I hope that doesn't happen. I really don't think that hell exists, so there's nothing to worry about. Good for us, I guess. But in any case, that's it for the comments today. I hope that you heathens enjoyed it. If you did, if you like this new kind of format, the way that I'm doing things, let me know down in the comments. While you're down there, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe if you like hearing about dumbass comments like this. Don't forget to stand up and use your voice, and I will see you heathens later.